Right, hey folks, this is by far and away, and I say that with 3 or 4 years of playing this game under my belt, the most intense game I've ever had of WarThunder. So for most of yesterday, if not all of yesterday, I was grinding through the Italian aircraft tech tree, and I got to tier 4 BR 5.0 with the Messerschmitt BF-109 G14AS. So it's actually a German plane. It's an Italian tree. It has a counterpart in the German tech tree as well, which is just the straight BF-109 G14. But the German version is a BR 0.3 higher. It sits at 5.3. Now I'm not exactly sure why, because they're pretty much exactly the same plane. I've been told by people in chat in the game that the AS model that the Italians have is meant for better high altitude performance. But whatever, I'm not going to get into it. Not sure what the difference is. But anyway, so mine isn't spaded yet. There's still quite a lot to go, but I do have belts unlocked for the 20mm. So the armament is one 20mm gun in the nose and two 13mm guns above the engine. So there's like a nice triangle pattern of shots coming in. The 13mm are firing default ammo though, which is pretty underwhelming, and they aren't the best guns to begin with, so it's basically all down to the 20mm. And I usually use BF-109s using the gun pods, so my aim doesn't normally have to be as on point as it's going to have to be in this game. Not to mention I'm putting down way less firepower than I'm used to, so the killing potential, although it's still decent, is nothing close to what I'm used to having to deal with. So not only am I flying a plane that's not fully upgraded, but the armament's not what I'm good with. And in true me fashion, the most spectacular games come from me not following my set routines. Normally, I'll climb. Not this time. Fly straight in, stay level. Because it's not upgraded yet, I think to myself, I want to get some early on kills, probably die, but I don't really care because I'm just trying to grind through the upgrade parts to get this thing spaded so that it's actually a worthwhile performance. So I find a P-47, dive right in on him. Wyvern comes in, tries to take some shots at me, evade him, carry back on the P-47. Now, this is where my inexperience with having one cannon and just general shitness, I guess, comes into play. This guy was pretty decent at evading as well. Pull up, probably a bit too far, and I try and find the Wyvern, and it takes me far too long to locate him. I'm now in a stall climb. I'm expecting this to be my death, but thankfully he just clips my left wing. Now this is still a problem because the plane is now listing heavily to the left. I have to constantly dab in a bit of right aileron to keep the plane level and to stop it from spinning out while I'm turning. Now the Wyvern is an incredibly heavy aircraft. It weighs about 9 tons, but it does have a turboprop engine. So it's good for maybe one combat maneuver, and if he doesn't do it right, then he's fucked. Managed to perfectly saw his wing off. If he hadn't flown exactly where he just did, I would have never been able to pull that off because I was putting as much into that aircraft as I could just to hold it level. P-47 graced me with his presence after leaving me alone long enough to kill the Wyvern. Having a damaged wing actually helps me evade his shots to some extent because it stops me needing to bother about the elevator as much. I just keep dabbing some up and down in and letting the wings work, do the waggling for me. Now he's dead. I go back to land, repair the plane. Let's get off the ground. At this point, there are 3 players left on my team, and the enemy still have, well, more than 3, put it that way. I can see the only other fighter I have left on my team is coming back because the other guy just died. So when he gets here, I think to myself, I'm going to stay around the airfield and go for altitude whilst he rearms, and then we'll both go in together. That gives us our best chance. So at this point, he just starts yabbering in chat in, I think, Spanish, maybe Italian, but pretty sure it's Spanish. And he's just caps locking it all day. Cruise control for cool. I have no idea what he's saying, but he's screaming it. And that makes me think it's probably not very good. So if anyone can speak Spanish or whatever language it is, I would really like to know what he's saying. Hopefully the quality, once this is on YouTube, will actually be high enough for you to be able to read the chat. But I'm guessing he's angry. There's a point where he says something about Axis. Now I don't know if that means something else in whatever language it's in, but obviously Axis is like the bad guys in World War II, and I'm on the Axis team currently, so I'm not saying, maybe he's saying Axis teams are bad. And what he ends up doing once he lands is he actually J's out and abandons his aircraft, and it leaves me as the only person left alive on our team, which obviously isn't what I expected to happen when I join the game. I take off, I rush, I try and get 1-2 kills maybe, just to get some grindy points. I end up the last one alive against 4, 5, 6 enemies. So I go for altitude. Now, naturally, being the last one alive, I'm being a bit cautious here, but I decide to level out at just over 4,000 meters and go for speed instead, because I figure if they're above me, they're going to be above me already. So speed matters more, because that's what will save me in a firefight. So a P-51 pops up with an altitude advantage. His plane is better than mine in every possible way. It's faster, it turns better, it climbs better, it dives much faster. And he has way more guns. First thing I do is go into a dive to try and match his speed, because I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm going to need that speed to put the playing field level. He doesn't get any damage on me there, which was the luckiest fucking thing ever. And then a fucking F-82 pops up, which are the absolute cancer of this tier. It's basically a two P-51s strapped together, which means that it has the most ridiculous climb rate and dive speed ever. Managed to maneuver him so that he's flying away from me, and use that time to close the gap on this guy. Avoid his incoming shots, dive for speed, need to keep my speed up, and I need to keep them low. If that guy dives, I can outturn him, but I need to get him on the deck for that to happen. Try and go head on with this guy. Thankfully he misses. I don't do much better, but now I have an altitude advantage, but I massively underestimated how much bullshit is filled in the F-82. So at this point I'm pretty much crippled. My right wing, I'm in the same situation as I was before basically. I'm having to constantly like fetter the controls to try and keep the plane level. Avoid him again, right. Whilst he's turning around, he was in a dive, so hopefully it's going to take him a while. I'm not expecting to live through this, I just want to get one last kill, so I'm going to try for everything and go for this P-51. F-82 is climbing up at me, he misses, overshoots, can't see what he's doing, but I know he's going to be turning around and trying to get guns on me. Gives me another window of opportunity. Getting random little hits on this P-51, just hoping that he makes a mistake. He's trying to make me go for a stall climb here, which makes me think that the F-82 is probably right on my tail, and he is. He is low, he's getting to his stall speed as well, which means that he's even worse at manoeuvring at low speed than me, because obviously he weighs more. So I stall out, go for a cheeky shot. If that shot had killed him, I think I'd have just hung up my coat and never played WarThunder again. I would have peaked. That would have been it. But this is my one chance to finish it. Get hits. Left engine oil tank damaged. And there's a crit on his right wing. So an oil leak means that your engine will overheat and seize up. It will take a while, but he has 2 engines, which means he's still at a much greater advantage than me. Whilst he's flying away, I'm going to use this opportunity to make a beeline for my runway, because I'm going to hope that he goes and repairs to fix his crippledness. He has a damaged right wing. He'll be listing to the left, or the right, sorry. And the lacking power in one of his engines won't make it very easy to keep his guns straight and level either. But he's not giving up, he's coming back in. If I sit here and stay in a straight line, he will definitely kill me, so going evasive is the best thing I can do. If I can force him to overshoot, I might be able to get on his tail again. So dive for speed. Turn in on him. Go for altitude. And he just turns right in front of my guns. Unfortunately, I lose too much speed, I can't close the gap, so I'm just shooting from stupid range, peppering him. Don't get any hits. Notice that his oil leak has stopped though, which means that he is completely dead with oil in his left engine, which means that his left engine is going to die so much faster. The thing is though, at this point, he isn't even the last one alive. There's still a P-47 somewhere. Not that I know at this point that it's a P-47, but the whole time that engagement was happening, I was bricking it that there was going to be a third guy. And the fact that I came out on top against 2, when both of them started off with an advantage over me, is a testament to itself that this plane is a shitload better than I was giving it credit for. So, I'm very close to the airfield now. He still isn't giving up. Trying to evade his shots by diving, because it'll get my speed up, help me glide to the runway that little bit quicker, and thankfully he pulls off at the very last second. Now, because of my wing damage, I don't want to use landing flaps fully. It takes them a long time to extend. I want to use them enough to slow my speed down for landing, but I'm going to raise them again before I get to the point where they've lowered enough, because they're asymmetrical because of the wing damage. Having more lift on one wing than the other will tip my plane, and I don't want to put a wing in the ground and die, because that would be the worst fucking thing ever to happen right now. So, flaps up for landing. Touchdown. Roll to a stop, and then naturally it's going to repair, and we're just going to skip ahead. Right. So I'm expecting the F-82 to have gone to land, because obviously his plane's crippled. He knows that I was at the runway, and he knows that I'm going to be fully repaired and perfectly fine, so he's going to be at a massive disadvantage if he tries to engage me in that condition. Which means that I'm dealing with the P-47. Now, on my way into the combat zone, I noticed that there was a lot of ground targets dying in the kill feed to this guy, so I knew it was a P-47 that I was dealing with, and I knew it was at low altitude. So I go for altitude, get my speed up. I can see he's climbing at me, and I know that the P-47 is a stupidly heavy aircraft, much like the Wyvern. So if I have an altitude advantage over him, it's a foregone conclusion. Unless I make the most retarded error ever, there's no other way that this engagement can end. The worst thing that could happen now is if the F-82 came in and tried to engage me. So just manoeuvring on its tail, overshoot it a bit. I'm still getting used to this gun. I think after this game I might actually not bother using gun pods, because it's clear that 120mm in the nose is more than sufficient to deal with pretty much anyone if you get a burst long enough in. And the rate of fire is actually slow enough for it to last quite a long time. You get 200 rounds, which sounds like fuck all, but actually lasts ages. I don't think I actually ever run out of cannon ammo. Now, because the BF-109s can't manoeuvre very well, when it comes to dogfighting, you have to use your throttle quite a lot, and you have to use more than just your combat flaps. So just then I was using my takeoff flaps to roll in on him. He's dead, go for altitude, head to the runway. I'm thinking, where else can he be? And he's dead. I've done it. I fucking did it. I solo won the game, I carried the fucking match. That fucking Spanish bastard Not racist, but he was a bastard, and he was Spanish. Left the game thinking there was no fucking hope that we could win. Can you imagine how much easier that would have been for me if I'd had someone else there? If he had just baited a few shots, if he had drawn their attention away, that would have been so much less stressful. My fucking heart was going a billion beats a minute after this game. Fuck me. But yeah, I stopped playing after this. It was about 4:30 in the morning, and I just wanted to end on a high. And fuck me, that was the high of a lifetime. Thanks for watching, folks.